Welcome to the Social Business Engine podcast, where today's thought leaders discuss how they're using the latest social media strategies and technologies in marketing, sales, customer service, and HR. Get ready to be inspired as our guests contribute to your digital transformation through their stories, knowledge, and insights into what works in today's digitally connected world. And now, here's Bernie Borges, your host of the Social Business Engine podcast.
Hey there, welcome to episode 206. I'm Bernie Borges, CMO of Vengreso, and your host of the Social Business Engine podcast. Hey, thanks for listening. Hey, on this episode, I'm excited to bring you my conversation with Cathy McPhillips, Vice President of Marketing at the Content Marketing Institute, also known as CMI. On this episode, you are going to hear how CMI has successfully positioned itself as the premier resource for marketers who want to learn everything they can about content marketing. Cathy reveals a key metric in their marketing that enables them to convert by a factor of 10 on their most coveted offering, which happens to be their annual event, Content Marketing World, which I've spoken at 7 times. It's truly an amazing event. Now, before we get to my conversation with Cathy McPhillips, I want to let you know that this episode is sponsored by SAP. Social Business Journal, Volume 11, is a case study in savvy social selling the SAP way. This case study is available for download without a form to fill out. That means it's ungated. You just click on the big button, open the PDF in your browser, and it's right there. That is at vengreso.com/SAP. And as always, we'll link that up in our show notes page at vengreso.com. And now, here's my conversation with Cathy McPhillips, Vice President of Marketing at the Content Marketing Institute. Cathy, welcome to the Social Business Engine podcast.
Hi, Bernie. Thank you so much for inviting me here today. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been looking forward to this conversation because, as you know, as we've discussed, I have had a couple of your coworkers, and particularly Joe Polizzi, the founder of CMI, and Robert Rose, his partner in strategy. But I have been wanting to have you on the podcast because you are Vice President of Marketing at Content Marketing Institute, and I'm really anxious to share with my audience a little bit more about the organization, how you've gotten to where you are today as a company, and we're going to get into how Content Marketing Institute markets to marketers, which I'm fascinated by. So let's begin with a brief background on CMI with a fast forward to where you are today.
Absolutely. So Joe Polizzi, the founder of the Content Marketing Institute, worked for Penton Media here in Cleveland, Ohio for a number of years. And around 2001, Joe coined the phrase content marketing after he had been doing some custom publishing and a few other things at Penton. And he got to the point where he said, it's time to take this content marketing to new heights. So around 2007, Joe started the company Junta 42, which was essentially a matchmaking thing between companies, solutions, and agencies, where someone would call him and say, we need a white paper written. Do you know someone that can help us do that? And he would know this company's in healthcare, and I know someone that could do that for them. So around 2011, enough people had started to ask Joe, can you just do it for me? Or can you give me some advice and some help? And that's how CMI was born. And now the mission of CMI is simply to advance the practice of content marketing. And that's what we've been doing ever since. And we do that in the form of our events, white papers, ebooks, webinars, our university program, and just a bunch of different ways that we're making sure that our customers can learn about content marketing through whatever form they're able to.
Fantastic. Well, the Content Marketing Institute, aka CMI, has really become the standard, the benchmark for all things content marketing. Anytime anyone, myself included, is citing something in the way of how brands do content marketing, current best practices, current state of content marketing effectiveness or ineffectiveness in some cases, we're citing a report, a study, papers, blogs, etc. from CMI. So really kudos to you and the team. And I've had the pleasure of meeting many, if not everybody, on the CMI team over the years. And so where I'd like to go next is to really hone in on your annual event. I know you're at a point where you've got multiple events, but the big one is Content Marketing World. Why don't you begin with a description, Cathy, of what is Content Marketing World? And then I want to discuss how you actually market the event. Let's begin with what is it?
Well, Content Marketing World is my favorite week of the year. It's every September, And this September will be our 8th. And Content Marketing World is the largest content marketing event on the planet. And this year we're expecting about 4,000 people. It started in 2011, where Joe and Pam were hoping to get 100 people to show up in Cleveland to talk about this thing called content marketing. And they actually had 600 people come that year. And every year it's grown, and we're close to 4,000 this year. And I'm really excited about it. And what Content Marketing World is, it's an event that covers every single discipline in content marketing, from before content creation to what you do afterwards in analytics and measuring ROI and everything in between. And attendees can come in and say, I want to learn about lead generation. And we're going to have an entire day dedicated in one room to lead generation, and speakers that are in the discipline themselves. And they aren't just professional speakers. They're in the trenches, they're doing the work. And I think that's what I love most about our event, is that our attendees can go back to their jobs the following Monday and say, I learned something actionable that I can actually use in my job. And aside from the learning and the education, it's just a great way for us to meet with people that we are similar to in our jobs. We might meet someone in the expo hall who could help us provide a solution that we really need because we're stuck somewhere. Or we just see people online all year long, and we are together in person for 4 days in Cleveland. And it's just a wonderful experience.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, I've lost count, Cathy. I've been to all of them. Yeah.
You have been to all of them. I know that for a fact.
I have. I even remember the first one, because I remember you all talking about how, wow, we were only expecting 100 people and there's 600 people here. So I remember them vividly, and I've had the pleasure and the honor of speaking at several of them, not all of them, but many of them. So fantastic event. Likewise, it's one of my favorite weeks of the year. I've got other things going on in my life, so it's not the number one, but it's up there in the top 3, Cathy. So hopefully you're good with that. Let's talk about how you market the event, because to me, what's fascinating is that it's an event for marketers, and marketers are an interesting group of people to market to because they are themselves doing marketing. So why don't you speak to your approach to marketing to marketers for your event?
I have to say, being a marketer, sometimes it makes it easier that I'm marketing to marketers, and sometimes it makes it harder because we all have high expectations of marketing. And the good news is, for me, is that I'm a pretty good cross-section of who our target audience is. So I know that if I don't understand something or something isn't appealing to me, it probably isn't going to appeal to our audience. So I'm a good gut check myself, as are many of our other team members. Are we making the most sense? And are we going to impact our audience through our marketing? So we do a lot of things through our email program, which is probably the best way that we have to get people to convert to our event attendees. So my 2 biggest goals for the year from a marketing standpoint are to grow our email subscriptions and to get people to come to our in-person events, specifically Content Marketing World. So like I said, email is probably our strongest. And then we also do some retargeting. We do some paid promotion. And we do a ton of content marketing. We've got a blog post that we publish every day. We have webinars that happen 3 times a month. We've got a quarterly magazine, Chief Content Officer magazine. We've got an online training program called Content Marketing University. And all of these things, we want them to take one more action within CMI, because we know that if someone takes 3 or more actions with CMI, that they are 10 times more likely to attend our in-person event. So some people, their first interaction with CMI might be attending Content Marketing World with one of their coworkers who gave them the nudge to come, or it might take them a couple of years of being a dedicated subscriber and reading and lurking online and reading our Twitter chats, but not jumping in. And then eventually they're going to say, oh, I really should go to this thing. And that's the content marketing that we're doing and the community building we're doing to get people to come to our events.
So if I can throw out, the marketing buzzword of omnichannel, that's really what I hear you saying, is that you're taking an omnichannel approach across the different channels, the different communication methods that you can reach marketers. And you're saying that when people engage with, and I'm not sure that I caught this correctly, Cathy, when people engage with your content, they're 10 times more likely to attend Content Marketing World. Did I get that right?
Yes. We've done some research that if they take 3 or more actions with CMI, whether it's a subscription to our daily emails or attending a webinar or subscribing to our magazine or things along those lines, that they are more likely to come to our in-person event.
Okay. I think that's a really important takeaway for my listener, is that you've measured through your history and you've discovered by tracking that when marketers take 3 or more actions, they are 10 times more likely to attend Content Marketing World. And so for every marketer, that's different, right? It's, for other marketers, it may be 5 or whatever that number is. In your case, you've got multiple programs going on. Can you elaborate on the print publication? Because that is a little bit of an anomaly in the digital world that we live in. And of course, this podcast is all about digital and social. And here you've got, in addition to all things digital, you've got a print publication. So what's that about?
We do. Chief Content Officer Magazine, we call it CCO, has been around for a number of years. And what I like best about our magazine is that we're reaching 27,000 qualified subscribers every quarter who have asked to receive our publication. And because we have qualified subscribers, these people are giving us their name, their email address, their mailing address, their job title, their job function, their business size, their annual revenue, all these things that you would fill out on a qualification form. And that has helped us build an amazingly robust database. So we are getting to know who our audience is through all the other pieces of content marketing that we're doing. So our magazine and our webinars are the two best ways that we're able to build our database and learn more about our customers. But for the consumers, we're able to give our customers something that they could hold on to and touch once a quarter that puts us in a position of being a leader in our industry. And the magazine's a great piece. Honestly, I think in this digital world we live in, to get something that you can touch and feel, and the paper that we use and the cover that we use are so fun to touch. That sounds really silly, but after being online all day, it really is nice to hold something and read it and pass it on to someone in your office, or, disconnect from being online for a little while and being able to pour yourself into this magazine and learn something new. And it's written by a lot of our friends in the industry. Mm-hmm. So it's good quality stuff. It's people telling other people, and in very many instances, their competitors, what they're doing to do better work.
Yeah. So in addition to the nice feel, as you point out, in other words, it's high quality paper. And I hear your point about how it's a nice break from digital. It gets a little bit old school, but in so many cases, old school has become new school again, right? Even I was seeing something on the news on how vinyl records are outselling, I think, digital downloads, or I forget what it was, but it just blew me away. And there it is, old school coming back. And so I think CCO magazine is a great example of that. And I agree, great card stock, great quality, but also the content is really fantastic because it is practitioners. It's brands sharing their stories, kind of like what we do here on this podcast, except in a magazine format, but very educational, very informative, great takeaways, and just huge. I think it's a huge boost to the brand because there are probably people, and you can tell me, you would know, there's probably people who subscribe to the magazine that may not get your emails, may not listen to your podcast, or may not be part of other digital outreaches, but they're reading the magazine. Is there any truth to that?
Absolutely. We have learned that there are people that only subscribe to the magazine. There are people that their company, someone from the company may attend the event or do other things digitally, but they don't. And there are some people that don't get the magazine, but do everything else. So there's a good cross-section of our magazine readers. And when you were talking earlier about how we're in this digital world and we're print publications, may seem odd to some folks. One thing that I like that our editors do very well for the magazine is that at the end of every single article in print, it will say, would you like to learn more about content strategy? And there's a link that we've put there. So we're pushing people back to our website, back to our Content Marketing World website, to a webinar series, or anything that we've done that they can then take this offline experience and go online to take one more engagement with us or to learn more.
Right. Makes great sense. That's what we do as marketers. Okay, so where I want to go next is I want to dive just a little bit deeper into the whole topic of marketing to marketers. But first, I want to pause briefly for a message from our sponsor. SAP has trained 12,000 sales reps across the globe in social selling strategies. SAP sales reps are skilled at identifying buying signals in social media, engaging prospects in sales conversations, differentiating themselves from competition, and leveraging a technology-driven sales process. The result is sales reps at SAP who use social selling practices have more than 5 times bigger deals on average than those who don't. To learn how SAP has implemented and maintains their global social selling program and what's next on this, get the case study in Social Business Journal Volume 11. It's available for download without a form to fill out at vengreso.com/SAP. That's Savvy Social Selling the SAP Way, available for download, ungated at vengreso.com/SAP. Cathy, you said earlier that in some ways it's easy to market to marketers because you are one, and in other ways it's hard. Can we unpack that a little bit? What do you mean by it's easy in some ways and it's hard in other ways?
Well, I guess nothing's super easy, but I think that just understanding the mind of a marketer and the limited time that we have to read our emails or to listen to a podcast or watch a video, I think we understand that we have to do different things to appeal to different people. And like I said, just our whole team being a group of marketers, we understand, I would say, better than, if our product was something that didn't involve marketers. I think it's just easier for us to understand the mindset of where our consumers are, whether it's beginners, intermediate, advanced. But on the flip side, everything I do, I worry, is this good enough for these advanced marketers that are seeing it? Are they going to say, did CMI really just market me in this way? So there always is a gut check on my end saying, am I putting out the absolute best work I could be doing because I am reaching people who are my peers, who are my industry peers?
Okay. And you said that you are marketing to beginners, intermediate, and advanced. And so I've made the observation as I've attended Content Marketing World, in the course of the 2 days at the event, you're obviously walking around from session to session. You've got a couple of parties, you're doing networking, etc. So you're meeting people. And I've certainly noticed that there are people there across all different levels, from entry level, right out of college, junior, beginner marketers, all the way up through C-level. So how do you see that evolving? Are you seeing more of one category attending CMW? Any trends that you can share on that?
It's interesting. Over 90% of our attendees say they will return the following year, but the number of people that actually do attend the following year is significantly lower. But I feel that that's for a number of reasons. One, there are so many marketing events. I have a whole list of all of our competitive events, and there are over 250 marketing events happening in 2018, which is just crazy. So there are so many options out there, but also we have so many companies that return. If that person doesn't return from their company, they're probably sending one of their colleagues, a new employee. In some companies, it's an incentive. If you hit this number or whatever their measurement is, and then you get to go to Content Marketing World. So a lot of times, different people from different companies go, even if the company itself is returning. And in that instance, it's good for us to keep our beginner sessions. Because even though someone may have been in the industry for a little while, if they haven't been to Content Marketing World, we don't want to throw them into an advanced session. So, and there are also, as our industry is evolving, people that came year one don't need to go to beginner sessions. Or if they've been gone for a couple of years, maybe they do. So we want to make sure that we're always advancing the industry and getting the people that have been coming for a long time and doing the work, getting them to keep growing and everything. But we need to make sure that the new people in the industry still have a solid base and understanding.
Okay. Is there anything new for Content Marketing World in 2018 that maybe you can reveal here as we record this in April and the event is coming up in September of 2018?
Well, our theme this year is Game On, and that's all around video gaming, board game theme. So all of our creative that'll be around the Expo Hall and Convention Center will have that gaming theme. And what we want from that is people to level up. We're trying to think of all these different buzzwords and ways we can take this gaming theme with Content Marketing World and our industry and put it together to make it really fun. But really, we're trying to take people just to do better and to have friendly competitions and things like that, where I think better is the word I've been using the most. We just want to make everyone do better work. So that's a really fun development for next year. And we also have the Cleveland Clinic is coming back to do the Cleveland Clinic Health Summit on Friday, which is one of our industry labs. The last day of the event is always focused on industry specific challenges. So if you get through the workshops on day one and the main event, days 2 and 3, on Friday, if you're in the financial industry, you may say, okay, that's everything I've learned is well and good, but I can't do, 20% of these things because I'm in finance and there are things I'm not able to do. So there is someone in the financial industry who can break that down on the last day of the event and say, okay, I've run up against this challenge myself and here's what I did. So whether it's financial, manufacturing, healthcare, et cetera, there's always that last day if people want to stay so they can learn more about some challenges, opportunities, and success stories from their industry.
That's day 3?
That's on day 4, actually,
Okay.
The last day. And then we're going to have a video summit this year, which is new. And
what's that about?
We are having a day dedicated to video. We're taking it, we may have done that in the previous years as a workshop, but this year we're doing it as a lab on the last day. And it's just going to be more about both the video industry using content marketing and how they've used that ability to grow their audiences. So that's going to be a really great event. I'm really looking forward to that one because it seems like video has exploded in our industry, whether it's trying to battle Facebook algorithms or trying to accommodate listeners and viewers on their commute on the train or whatever. So different ways we can use video to keep appealing to our audience and trying to break through all this clutter.
And is that going to be geared more for brands or for individual brands or corporate brands or both?
I would say both. We haven't completely finished the programming, so I'm not 100% sure. But everything we do, we really try to make sure that it appeals to brands.
Right. Although there's a lot of differences between the individual brand and then the corporate brand. So I would imagine if you're going to, and you said you're still working on the programming, there are definitely differences. So you take a Brian Fanzo, who's someone who's an individual and does a great job of creating a lot of great video. He doesn't work for a corporation. He is the brand, right?
Correct.
As opposed to GE, and they create a lot of great video, but it's all about the brand, the GE brand, and different themes and strategies that they're focused on.
Correct. This would definitely be more focused towards brand marketing versus personal branding.
Okay.
But if we hear a need from our customers online over the next few months and would make sense to put a personal branding session in there, I definitely think that's something we could accommodate.
Cool. All right. So before we wrap it up, you do a few other things at CMI besides the Content Marketing World event. You want to just touch on, from a marketing strategy standpoint, how do you get all the other offerings that you have? How do you manage to market them and fill them up with the people and the subscriptions and so forth that you need to generate, the revenue that you target?
Well, first of all, there's a team of about 20 of us. There's 4 of us in the marketing department, but there's a team of about 20 of us. So there's a lot of cross promotion among all the things that we're doing. I'm working on the emails for our promotional messages, but we have our daily blog posts with calls to action telling people to attend Content Marketing World in a certain session based on that blog post, or a webinar. We're going to mention Content Marketing University, Content Marketing World, and all these different things during the webinars. So our customers who are on the webinars know what other offerings we are having. The magazine has been wonderful for us. I can take 8 pages of the magazine if I wanted to, and I usually don't because that's a lot of pages, but I can go through and promote over that quarter what's coming up next. So our readers, our captive readers, are able to see all the different things that are happening. So it's a lot of cross promotion. It's a lot of email usage and segmentation. Mo, who runs our social media, does a great job of making sure all of these different offerings get pushed out on social media. And
Mo, that's great.
And we do some paid advertising. I mean, our community is great and it's growing organically very quickly, but we can always grow a little larger and reach out to some marketers who haven't heard of CMI yet.
And what kind of advertising are you doing?
We're doing a lot of remessaging and retargeting with people that have come to the CMI website that may not know about our live event. And then we're also doing some Facebook advertising. And it's really just a lot of digital remessaging is the bulk of it.
Okay. All right, Cathy. Well, we are at a point in the podcast where I am going to summarize our conversation. I'm going to kind of hit the treetops on the main points that we covered. And then I'll ask you to fill in any holes, or if there's anything that I jog your memory you want to elaborate on, feel free. Just ask you to keep it relatively brief because we're at the tail end of our podcast episode. So we began our conversation with a little bit of background on Content Marketing Institute and how Joe Polizzi, who is the founder of CMI, used to work at Penton Media, and he actually coined the term content marketing back in 2001. And in 2007, he started a company. He went off on his own and said, it's time for me to do something on my own on this content marketing thing. And he started Junta 42. I actually remember that vividly. And it was a matchmaking service, like you said, between brands and agencies. And then eventually, with a lot of feedback that he got from the community, he decided to pivot, if you will. Those are my words, not your words. And he started the Content Marketing Institute with a focus on advancing the practice of content marketing. And your offerings, and I should point out, you've got the word institute in your name, but you are a for-profit company. But the purpose of your business is to advance the practice of content marketing. And you do that through events. That includes webinars, university programs. And we spent a lot of our time in this conversation talking about the big event, the annual Content Marketing World event that always happens every year right after Labor Day. Labor Day is a U.S. holiday. So for those outside the U.S., that's in early September, and how it is your favorite week of the year. And this September will be the 8th year. You're expecting about 4,000 people. And the event runs 3.5 days. Did I get that right? Or 4 days?
It's 4 days.
Okay. So you're expecting about 4,000 people. The event covers every discipline in content marketing, and you've got dedicated disciplines. For example, you said lead generation, is a dedicated topic. So whatever topics within content marketing people want to learn more about, they have the opportunity to really do deep dives and hear from practitioners, hear from people at brands who are in the trenches actually succeeding, so they can walk away with very actionable takeaways. We talked about how you market your events. We talked about how you're marketing to marketers, and that's in some ways both hard and easy, even though, as you said, Cathy, nothing's really easy. But the fact that you yourself are the target persona, meaning you are a marketer, so you're able to really gauge in many ways whether something is on point or not. And how things like email and your daily blog and your quarterly webinars, and then, of course, your print publication, Chief Content Officer Magazine, which publishes, I believe, quarterly, has very qualified subscribers, which, provide all their information, name, contact, other insights about their professional life that allows you to deliver not just great content to them, but it's your publication. So you can put calls to action in there and cross-promote your other events. And you've also discovered, and this is fantastic, and I think I'm really, really going to showcase this in the show notes, and that is that those who have had 3 or more actions with your content are 10 times more likely to attend your annual Content Marketing World event. And I think all marketers really need to be looking for exactly that kind of KPI in as many ways as possible. We talked about how marketing to marketers, continuing that whole theme of marketing to marketers, is that, you understand the mind of the marketer, and you've got a team of 4 that are helping you market to them. You market to beginners, intermediate, and advanced marketers. And at Content Marketing World are offering sessions for all 3 of those levels. Talked a little bit about Content Marketing World 2018. You said the theme is Game On. It's really kind of focused on the gaming theme and really how you want to kind of bring things up to a new level. Everyone can do better. Workshops, vertical industry workshops, the event itself. And also you said a video summit, a whole day dedicated to video and how brands are using video. That's going to be cool. I can't wait to see what that's all about. And then we talked about, the last thing we talked about was how you market other offerings. And you, of course, are using all your omni-channel approaches, emails, daily emails, and your magazine, and you're doing some retargeting and some Facebook advertising and cross-promoting across all of them to drive people to all your offerings with a big, big, big concentration on Content Marketing World. So that's my summary. Is there anything that you'd like to add to that, Cathy?
The one thing that stuck out is that you talked about, yes, that CMI is in fact a for-profit company, but coming from a bit of a nonprofit background, one of the things I liked best about Joe and the company that he built is that we really are trying to help companies do better and succeed and help small businesses grow. And that, to me, we are trying to help the world. That sounds silly to say, but that is one of the things I loved about the company when I started and what got me on board.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you made that point, because when companies are successful, that creates jobs, and we don't have to elaborate on what that means. So I think it's a great point. And I'm glad you put an exclamation point on the fact that CMI as a for-profit company is in fact helping companies market more effectively so that they can be more successful. Terrific. Thank you for making that point, Cathy. Well, where would you like to send my listener online to connect with you and learn more about what you've got going on and what CMI is up to?
Well, probably the easiest way to find me is on Twitter. My Twitter handle is C McPhillips. And in my bio on Twitter, you can get to me on LinkedIn there as well. But really, visit contentmarketinginstitute.com to find out more about CMI, and our event website is contentmarketingworld.com. And please, if anyone has any questions on the event or CMI, or if you're in the middle of a project and you need a little nudge with some research support, or you're looking at a topic that you just need to wrap your head around, just drop me a line and I can find an article for you. I can download research and send it over to you. So anything I can do to help make any of your listeners' lives easier, I am here to help.
Fantastic. Well, Cathy, thank you so much for joining me here on the Social Business Engine podcast today. I love everything that you guys are up to at CMI. Keep up the great work.
Well, thank you so much. This was really fun.
Hey, I hope that you enjoyed my conversation with Cathy McPhillips, Vice President of Marketing at the Content Marketing Institute, also known as CMI. This has been episode 206, titled How the Content Marketing Institute Markets. Now, here's my one big takeaway that I want to share with you about my conversation with Cathy McPhillips. It's how she is in a unique position to filter all of CMI's marketing through her own lens by asking how she would respond to it. Now, ordinarily, that's a bad idea for a marketer because in most cases, the marketer is not the target avatar. But in this case, Cathy is in fact the target avatar, so it works. So what's your takeaway from my conversation with Cathy McPhillips? Just leave your comments in the show notes at Vengreso.com. Just visit the podcast section and find episode 206. Hey, this episode has been sponsored by SAP. Social Business Journal Volume 11 is a case study in savvy social selling the SAP way. This case study is available for download without a form to fill out. Just click on the big button, open the PDF in your browser, and you can find it at Vengreso.com/SAP. And of course, we linked that up in our show notes page at Vengreso.com. And hey, while you're there, be sure, if you're not already, to get subscribed to get the Social Business Engine podcast delivered to your inbox each and every week. We send it on Wednesdays. And if you are in sales, or if you know someone in sales, be sure to subscribe to my partner's podcast, Selling with Social, hosted by Vengreso's very own CEO, Mario Martinez Jr. Well, hey, that is a wrap for episode 206. I want to thank my guest once again, Cathy McPhillips, Vice President of Marketing at the Content Marketing Institute. This is Bernie Borges, CMO of Vengreso, signing off for now and wishing you continued success on your social business journey.
Thank you for listening to the Social Business Engine podcast. Be sure to tune in again next week to reconnect with Bernie Borges for more insights, inspiration, and practical advice on social business. Visit socialbusinessengine.com to catch even more content on social strategy that will rock your business and your career.